Hey guys, welcome to EduTap. I hope each of you is happy, healthy and fine and taking very good care of yourself. I'm your mentor Veer and I welcome you all in lecture 35 on government schemes. So without wasting any time, let's get started. But before starting our today's video guys, let me give you a small orientation regarding the government schemes. So in this orientation video, what we're gonna do, we're gonna answer the three general queries of any student that why these government schemes are so much important from our exam point of view. Then we'll take up what are the government schemes that are important from our exam point of view. And then the third question will be how are we gonna cover the government schemes. So first question is why the government schemes are important from our exam point of view. So guys, if you analyze the previous year papers of RBI as well as NABARD, and in this, especially in the phase 2, questions worth almost 15 to 20 were asked in the RBI Grade B and even on the higher side in the NABARD Grade A. So you can see the weightage of the government schemes in our exam, especially in the phase 2 guys. So that will answer to your query that why these government schemes are important. Now coming to the second query, which is about what are the schemes that are important from our exam point of view. So guys, the schemes that have been newly launched are important. Moreover guys, we need to also cover the older schemes which found mention every now and then in the recent media. So both the schemes, that is the newly launched as well as older schemes that are in use for the past 1 year are important from our exam point of view. So if you know why they are important and what are the schemes that are important, so that will bring to your third query, which is how the government schemes need to be covered up. So guys, we have given you certain dimensions considering the analysis that we have done of RBI as well as NABARD. So these are the dimensions that you need to focus on while preparing for the government scheme. So dimensions include the nodal ministry as well as the agency involved. Suppose there is a scheme that has been launched by this ministry, so we need to remember that dimension. Then the aim and objective of the scheme, we need to remember that. Then targets of the scheme, like Swanidhi scheme focus especially on the street vendors. So how many street vendors need to be covered up? The answer is 50 lakh. So this is one of the dimensions. Then beneficiaries, key features of the scheme, associated umbrella or sub schemes. For example, there are 8 subcomponents under the Pradhan Mantri Kisan Sampada Yojana. So there are 8 subcomponents which we also needs to cover up. So not only the umbrella scheme but also the subcomponents, then allocation, campaigns, latest data and the news or the current affair data regarding the scheme. So these are the dimensions that you need to focus upon while preparing for the government scheme. So guys, that is all about the orientation regarding the government schemes. Now it's time to start the video of the day. In today's video guys, we're gonna start the scheme PM-KUSUM. Guys, this scheme was lot in news in the past few months. If you analyze the newspaper of December, November, October, this scheme was found and mentioned every now and then. So guys, first thing we need to understand about what the full form of this KUSUM, what K stands for, what U stands for. So KUSUM stands for Kisan Urja Suraksha Evam Uthan Mahabhiyan. So Kisan Urja Suraksha Evam Uthan Mahabhiyan. So if you see Kisan, first thing is farmer, then Urja means electricity, and then there is Suraksha. So there is something related with electricity security to the farmer in this scheme. Then there is Suraksha Evam Uthan Mahabhiyan. So there is something to this scheme has something to do with the electricity as well as something additional benefit will the farmer will get. What it is, we will get to know while we cover up the scheme. So this is the gist of this particular scheme. So now coming to the finer details of the scheme, and we will cover the scheme through the dimensions that I mentioned in the previous slide. So first dimension is about the full form of the scheme. Guys, this kind of question can be asked in the phase 1 as well as phase 2. So first we need to know the full form of acronym, that is Kisan Urja Suraksha Evam Uthan Mahabhiyan, that is KUSUM scheme. Then the launch year is 2019. So it is not a very old scheme. and that's why it is important from our exam point of view. Moreover, it is it is finding its mention every now and then in the news. So that is about the second dimension. Now the nodal ministry or the nodal agency involved is Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. Now this scheme is being implemented through the state nodal agencies of the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. So the four dimensions that we have covered is first the full form of the scheme, then the launch year, then the nodal agency as well as the implementing agency. Implementing agencies are nothing but the nodal agencies of this ministry, and they will coordinate up with the state as well as the power companies as well as the farmers in order to implement the Pradhan Mantri Kusum scheme. So these are the four dimensions that we have covered. Now moving on to the fifth dimension, and one of the most important, which is about what this scheme will all about, or what is the aim of this scheme. So the aim of this scheme is to add solar and other renewable capacity of 30.8 gigawatt by the year 2022 with total financial support of rupees almost 34,000 crore. So guys, while starting this scheme, we have talked about that this scheme will provide certain social security. So that social security is regard to the electricity, not social security guys, electricity security. So that has to do with the electricity security that the farmers will get under this scheme, and especially solar and renewable energy. So if you observe that under this scheme, the farmers will get the electricity that has been generated through solar or renewable sources. Though this scheme mostly deals with solar energy guys, okay, but in the government sources somewhere it is mentioned as other renewable energy as well. So हमको ज़्यादा emotional नहीं होना है कि if it is mentioned as solar, so because all the components of this particular scheme you will get to know that deals with the solar energy only, okay, but in the government sources it is also mentioned that they will also deal with other renewable energies, okay. So ज़्यादा emotional नहीं होना, just remember the word. So this scheme is providing the solar energy to the farmers. What is the target? That is 30.8 gigawatt by the year 2022. Now guys, now if you refer the official sites of the ministry under this Pradhan Mantri Kusum scheme, earlier target was 25.7 gigawatt. I think I mentioned it, yeah, 25.7 gigawatt. It was revised in the budget of 2020, okay, and it has been revised to 30.8 gigawatt. So ज़्यादा emotional नहीं होना है, simple है. In the budget they have revises the target from 25.7 to 30.8 gigawatt. Nothing else has been done. They have just revised the target. First they have implemented the scheme on a pilot basis. They have seen that results could be achieved in a much better way, so they have revised the target in the budget, okay. So if you see that 25.7 gigawatt as the target, do not get misleaded, it has been revised to 30.8. Now few of you can question that sir 25.7 तो official site पे mention है, तो official site पे अभी update नहीं हुआ है. Regarding this fact, you can check out the news as well, okay. So that's why I mentioned here 30.8 gigawatt. So guys, this is about the aim of the scheme. So we have covered the 5 dimensions. First the full form of the scheme, then the launch year, then the implementing agency as well as the nodal agency, and the fifth one is the aim of this particular scheme. Now coming to the important part of the scheme, which is the components. So guys, this scheme has 3 components. One, establishing of the solar power plants. Number 2 is number 2 and 3 are basically combined, or you can say they deal with only one thing, which is solar pumps, okay. But we will how they are differentiated from each other, we will get to know. So the first component is about solar power. So in the first component, solar power plant of capacity from 500 kilowatt to 2 megawatt will be established on the barren lands as well as we can say on the land of the farmer, which has been provided or which has been approved by the farmer. Even the agricultural land can also be used, okay. and this has a target of generating almost 10,000 megawatt of energy through this establishment of these power plants. So this is one of those components. In this, what we are doing, we are establishing the solar power plants in the land that have been provided by the farmer. Then the second component that I've told you is a mix of solar power pumps. Third component also deals with solar power pumps. So how will you differentiate between the two? Thing is, in the one, we are establishing the solar power plants that will be connected with the grid. Okay? And in the other, we are establishing the solar power plants in an isolated way, and they can supply the excess of electricity generated to the power companies. Okay, so in the one component, we are establishing the solar power plants in the area so that they can be directly connected with the grid, which I have mentioned here. You can see the snippet. And in the other component, what we are doing, we are establishing the solar power plants, solar power pumps in the standoff or standalone capacity, and they can sell the excess of electricity generated to the power companies and they can earn the revenue. So in the one, we are directly connecting them with the grid, and in the other, we are just establishing the solar power pumps, and if they want to sell, they can sell it the excess of electricity. They are not directly connected with the grid. So these are the three components of this scheme. In one, we are establishing the power plant. In the other two, we are establishing the solar power pumps. So basically, we are dealing with the solar energy. Then guys, here are some targets that have been mentioned, and these targets have also been revised. It is mentioned that 17.5 lakh pumps will be installed off grid to aid the irrigation need of farmers in remote location, but this target has been revised to 20 lakhs. Moreover, the solar pumps that we are establishing that will be connected with the grid earlier target was of 10 lakh pumps, but now it has been revised to 15 lakh pumps. So guys, in one we are establishing the solar power plants, and in the other two we are establishing the solar power pumps. Okay, so that's how this scheme deals with the energy security of the farmer by establishing the solar power plants as well as solar power pumps. So this is now what is the support that has been provided by the government. We need to see that. So solar power plant has to be established by the farmer. No financial support is there, but for the establishment of solar power pumps in both the B and C component, there is a financial support. So what is the financial support that has been provided by the government? %30 financial support will be provided by the central government, 30% will be provided by the state government, and 40% will be provided by the none. You have to bring it on your own. So this is the component that you have to bring on your own. Moreover guys, regarding this component, 10% you have to bring on your own, and for the rest 30% you can get a loan from the bank. Okay. Now guys, there is also exception for certain states like Jammu Kashmir, Uttarakhand. For those states, the support is in the ratio of 50:30:20. So 50 will be the central support, 30 will be the support by the state government, and 20 is what the amount you have to bring in. Then again, you have to bring 10% on your own, and the remaining 10% you can get it through the loan by the bank. So this is the funding pattern of this scheme, or what is the financial support that will be provided to you by the state as well as central government. So guys, these are the components that we have covered. Let's see in very brief what we have covered. That 10,000 megawatt of, we can say, power plants will be established. Okay, these will be established on the land that have been provided by the government. Now there has been a recent news that, let me show it to you, 1 second guys. on the barren fallow agricultural land. When the scheme was launched, only these three were covered, that is barren, fallow and agricultural land. But now even the pastures as well as marshy land has also been included in under this one component number 1, in which we are establishing the power plants. I already mentioned that the power plants will be of capacity from 500 kilowatt, it is mentioned here, to 2 megawatts. But now guys, to support the small and marginal farmers, what they have done, that even for the less than 500 kilowatt, for the small and marginal farmers, they can establish a smaller capacity power plant, but for that studies will have to be carried by the state. Okay, they have to check if it is feasible for the if it is technically as well as financially feasible. So only after that approval they can establish the plant. And now guys, the commissioning time has also increased from 9 months to 12 months. So these are the updates regarding the first component, which is about the solar power plant. Then the second component is installation of 17.5 lakh. We have discussed this in multiple times in the previous slide. But guys, we were establishing the solar power pumps, but of what capacity? Up to a capacity of 7.5 horsepower. So up to this capacity of pumps we can say establish under the Pradhan Mantri KUSUM scheme. But there is one recent update that higher capacity of solar pumps can be established by water user association, farm produce organizations, primary agriculture credit societies, or basically the organizations that deals with the farmers, or as a group of farmers can establish the solar pumps of more than 7.5 horsepower capacity. Okay, if you as an individual farmer you want to establish, the maximum capacity is only 7.5. So those are the two components. We have also discussed the third component, as I already mentioned, the revised target under the budget. Okay, earlier it was 10 lakh, now it has been revised to 15 lakh. Again similar, the capacity of the pump will be 7.5. I also mentioned about the funding pattern, guys. We have already discussed this. Yeah, I mentioned that there will be some states for which the exception will be there. Northeastern states, Sikkim, Jammu Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Lakshadweep, Andaman Nicobar Islands. The sharing pattern will be 50, 30, 20 for the central state and your own contribution. So guys, that is all about the Pradhan Mantri Kisan Urja Suraksha Evam Utthan Mahabhiyan scheme. So we have discussed this scheme in entirety. Let's revise it before doing the MCQs. So the first thing about the scheme is about its full form, which is the full form of KUSUM. We have talked that launch year 2019. Implementing agency is the state nodal agencies which are under the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, and Ministry of New and Renewable Energy is also the nodal ministry of this particular scheme. Then we have talked about the different components of the scheme. Sorry, before that we have talked about the aim of this scheme. So under the scheme, the government wants to establish the solar power capacity as well as other renewable energy capacity of almost 13.8 gigawatt by the year 2022. Then we have talked about the components under this scheme. There are three components. One deals with the solar power plant and the other two deals with the solar power pumps. The solar power plants of capacity from 500 kilowatt to 2 megawatts will be established on the barren as well as agricultural land as well as marshy, as well as one more component was there, pasture land. Okay, and under the other two components, solar power pumps of capacity almost 7.5 horsepower will be established. The exceptions I have already told you. So guys, that was all about the scheme. We have also discussed about the funding pattern. Now it's time to revise this scheme through some MCQs. So guys, the scheme launch year is the year 2019, not a very old scheme. It is, we can say even that it is a recently or newly launched scheme. Then the implementing agency is State Nodal Agency of Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. They, in coordination with the state government, the power companies as well as the farmer, will implement the KUSUM scheme. Then full form, we have already discussed this. Then aim to add the solar capacity as per the revised target 13.8. Why I mentioned the revised target word? Because even in the official sites you can still find a mention of target of 25.7 gigawatt, and this was the earlier target. In the budget, it has been revised to 13.8. Then components, there are three components. We have already discussed this multiple points. One deals with the power plant, the other two deals with the power pumps. When the funding pattern of this scheme is 30 support by central, 30 by the state, and 40 it is what you have to bring on your own. In the special case, it will be 50:30:20. Special case are states of Jammu Kashmir, Andaman Nicobar Islands, Lakshadweep Islands, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, and the northeastern states. So these are the exceptions. Then how many farmers to be covered as per the revised target under the standalone component? So the answer is 20 lakh. Earlier the target was 17.5 lakh. Standalone means that if you have the access, you can supply it to the power companies, but you will not be connected to the power grid directly. Then the solar power plants that can be established, the solar power plants can be established on pasture land and marshy land. Yes, they can be established because the government has recently changed recently made the update in the Pradhan Mantri KUSUM scheme. Earlier, these two words were not there. That is the pasture land and the marshy land. So guys, we have covered this scheme in entirety from the current affairs point of view as well as the static point of view. Even you can check that we have mentioned the revised targets of this particular scheme. So guys, if there is any update in the coming we can say months or before the exam, we need to refer it from the news again. So that is all about the Pradhan Mantri KUSUM scheme. Now guys, coming to the homework question. So today there is no homework question, you can check out. The only homework question or only comment that you have to make is the scheme that you want me to cover in the coming week, that is after the 17th of Jan. What are the schemes that you want me to cover up? You just make the name of that particular scheme in the comment section, and I will try to take that up in the week from 17th to 24th of Jan. So we'll try to take the scheme. And guys, thing is, I will only take those schemes that have been mentioned by the maximum number of pupils. Okay, because only 2 videos will be coming up. But no worries, you just make the comment. I will try to take that scheme up in the coming weeks. Okay. Moreover, guys, I would like to also mention that after the notification, we will definitely increase the frequency of the lectures. Now, guys, through this video, I would like to thank you for the appreciation that you are giving to our videos. Thank you, Rajesh, Ashish, Naveen, Apur, Richard. Guys, thank you for your love, for your support that you are extending to us. Now guys, Nirmal has sent that 540 products, very good explanation, increasing frequency. Nirmal is asking for increasing the frequency. I already mentioned that after the notification of RBI, we will definitely try to increase the number of frequency. Moreover, we will try to incorporate more number of schemes in one particular video, so that you can revise in a much better way. Okay, Nirmal, I hope that will address your doubt. Moreover, Anand, I think, had something to say. Sir, can you please make a playlist? So Anand is asking for a playlist. So guys, thing is, if you are finding it difficult to check out the government schemes, so there are dedicated playlists in our YouTube channel. One deals with the government scheme, and the other deals with the reports and indices. In the government scheme section, there are already 35 videos, and when I add this up, it will increase to 36. Okay. So there are dedicated playlists I want to tell you regarding the government scheme section. You just need to scroll on the section. So guys, thank you for your love that you are extending to us. But one thing I would like to add up is, Nirmal has answered the question or the homework question, and then he has put up what he is feeling about the video as well as his feedback. Guys, one thing I want from you is that please answer the homework question. That is really important for you, because it is one point that I missed, I skipped in the video while preparing the scheme, and I left that point for you. So if you answer this, then I feel that you have covered the scheme in entirety. Okay, so that will make me feel that I haven't left anything, and I will more appreciate that you are trying to incorporate what I am telling you, because if you do this, there is no one that can stop you regarding the coverage of the government scheme. You do not need me or anyone else in the coming future if you follow the steps that I am mentioning here. So guys, that is what primarily I ask you is, please answer or take up the homework question seriously and try to not only look for the homework question but also the related facts, because there might be some facts that is related with the some or the other government scheme that might came in front of you, and you can relate the scheme in a much better way. So thank you all, thanks for your time guys, for making the comments. Please follow our YouTube channel, do subscribe to it and share it with your friends if you like the video. Moreover guys, I want to tell you, if you want to download the PDF of this particular video or the other videos related with the government scheme, you need to check out our Telegram group, the link of which you can find in the description box. So guys, that's all from my side. I'm your mentor Veer, now signing off.